Hello, I'd like to welcome you to this third seminar on the first chapter in the book of Haggai. This is the first book we have that has more than one chapter. It's the third of the smallest of the writers, least amount of that was written by Haggai, a little bit larger than the last book of Obadiah. And it begins as we went before. I'll be reading the Greek and then expounding on it. The numbers in yellow are the words in English derivatives book, and the blue are, we're still in the definite article, and we'll go over a little bit of this as we go along. But this book of Haggai, actually the story starts in the Ezra 1, if you would want to open that in the Apostolic Bible, 1:1-3, and it says, "And in the first year of Cyrus, king of the Persians, to initiate the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, the Lord awakened the spirit of Cyrus, king of the Persians, and he reported by a report in all his kingdom, and indeed in writing, saying," and it goes on there and it explains what Cyrus, the decree of Cyrus. So now the people that have been sent in exile are going to come back by this issue by Cyrus. The ones that came back were Ezra and Nehemiah and Zerubbabel and Joshua, as we'll see. And actually when they came back and started building, there was an idle period, which we see in Ezra 4:24, where it says, "Then the work of the house of God was idle, the one in Jerusalem, and it was idle until the second year of the kingdom of Darius, king of Persia." So there was this downtime. Apparently, and then after, in between Cyrus and Darius was Artaxerxes, and this is when Nehemiah left for Jerusalem. It mentions that in Nehemiah 2:1-2. It says, "And it came to pass in the month of Nisan, the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, that the wine was before him. And I took the wine and gave it to the king, and there was no other before him. And the king said to me, Why is your face in a sorry state, and you are not content? For is this not unless there is a sorrowful heart? And I was afraid exceedingly much." And so it goes on to show how Nehemiah then left for Jerusalem, as Jerusalem was in shambles. And then of these people that left were mentions that two main characters of this time of going back were Zerubbabel and Joshua. In Ezra 3:2 it mentions, and it says, "And Yeshua," now it's interesting, Jesus, if you see it in the Greek, it's the same name as Jesus, as Jesus. Jesus and Joshua are actually synonymous in the Greek. For some reason, English translators decided to make a distinction between the two. And Yeshua is Jesus in Hebrew, and Jesus in Greek. I hope I'm not confusing you too much in this. So this Yeshua, or Joshua, and the son of Josedek and his brethren, the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and they built the altar of the God of Israel to offer upon it whole burnt offerings, as written in the law of Moses, the man of God. So these two men were the two leaders that we are mentioned a lot through the books of Ezra, Nehemiah, and Haggai, and also Zechariah. Zechariah was a prophet during this period of Haggai and all the things that were going on. If you turn into Zechariah 1:1, you'll see where it says, "In the 8th month of the second year unto Darius came to pass the word of the Lord to Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, son of Iddo the prophet, saying," and we'll be getting to the book of Zechariah a little bit later. So verse 1 now will begin, and it reads, en to δεύτερο έτη επί δαρείου του βασιλέως, en to mini to έκτο μία του μήνος εγκαίνετο λόγος Κυρίου εν χειρή Αγίου του προφήτου λέγον, υπον προς Ζωροβάβελ τον του Σαλαθιήλ εκ φυλής Ιούδα, και προς Ιησούν τον του Ιωσαδέκ τον ιερέα τον Megan λέγον. In the second year, in being a preposition for in, same as in English, the second. Now, you'll see this is our third seminar, and I don't have all the 3588s highlighted. Today we're going to go over this what's called agreement, agreement with adjectives and nouns. The article agrees with these nouns and adjectives that it modifies in case, gender, and number. The case being the nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and vocative. This is all in our grammar. You'll see this, and you'll have further information what all these cases mean if you go there and download the FreeMind software and open up these expandable nodes. And it also agrees with the gender, of course, masculine, feminine, neuter, and it agrees in number, singular and plural. Well, how does it agree with it? Well, one way it agrees is you have to have the article to be in the same of all three of these, and the spelling in many places of the word. Here you can see it, but not always is it the same. Sometimes the article and the word it modifies will have a different ending, but here I've marked all the ones that do have the same. So you see the to, devtero, the o, omega in the end of both of these words. And this will be the case with all the blue ones in this seminar. So in the Deutero, the second, we have Deuteronomy, the second book of the law. In the second year of Darius, the king, the Basileus, we have the basilica as a king's residence, or an English derivative. In the 6th month, the 6th month, we have ecto, we have the English derivative hex, a hexagon, six-sided. Mene, we have a mean, like in menopause. The men has to do with a month. The 6th month, day 1 of the Minos, the month, came the logos. Remember in the last couple of seminars, remember anything with log or leg has something to do with speech or a word, and here it's the logos. We have the word. Kyrie of the Lord, Kyrie eleison, mentioned before, and Hiri, the hand of Haggai. The Hiri, we have a chiropractor, manipulates with his hands as a derivative. Of Haggai, the prophetu, we can see there's almost a direct transliteration being letter for letter. There's the P and the P in English, the re, ro, and the R, omicron and the O, the phi and the P, eta and the H, and the tav and the T, prophet, prophetu. Now, sometimes different endings, but still it'll be fairly close. And there you can see the two, prophetu, the genitive in that case. Legon, saying, say to Zorobabel, the one, the son. The son should be in italics because it's the one of Salatiel. And so it's not actually son. It's the son should be in italics, like I mentioned. The son of Salatiel, eccentric, from the center, would be a derivative. From the Felis, a phylum, is a classification of plants, and the tribe is a classification of peoples. And from the tribe of Judah. And to Esun, again Joshua here, the son of Josedek. I noticed, I think I had Yahshua in another place, so I've working in this 25 years, I can't say I have everything down here perfect. As a large group of people would have put it together, maybe some of these would have been crossed over and caught better, but be it as may, it's Isun is the Greek, and Joshua or Yahshua. Yahshua would be more of Hebraizing it. Then speak to Joshua, the son of Eosedek, the Ierea. We have a priest, the Ierea. We have the hieroglyphic, the hiero being the priestly writings of the Egyptians, the hiero. The Megan, the great priest. We have a megalith, a large stone, English derivative. The Megan, Ierea, saying, leg, again with the speech. And then verse 2, it continues. We'll move down there. Tade legi Kyrios pantokrator legon, o leos utos legusin, ukiki o chairos tu ikodomise, ton ikon Kyriou. Thus says the Lord. Leg, again, with the speech, says the Lord Pantokrator, the Panto being Pan, all, and Krator, Krat, it has to do with might, the Almighty. It's a wonderful word, the Lord Almighty, and it appears many places as describing the Lord. And thus he says, saying, this people, laos, laity, being English derivative, this people says, the time is not come to build the house of the Lord. To build, eco, we had that before, economy, something to do with the house or taking care of business, and to build the house, the econ of the Lord, Kyriou. 1:3. K ageneto logos Kyriou en hiri ageu to prophetu legon. And it came to pass the word, the logos, Kyriou en hiri ageu to prophetu legon. So all those words we went through before, so the only one was except ageneto, came to pass. So maybe you can be starting to pick up some of these Greek words now, seeing have we going over them more and more. You'll start at least recognizing certain things about them. So the word came through the passed by the word by the hand of Haggai, and he says, Amen kairos imin esti tu ikin en iki simon ki lostathmis o de ikos utos exirimote. And he says, is it indeed time? Kairos, there is time. It's not chronos. Chronos is a time, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. But this is like time, a season. And then because they were saying it wasn't time, and he's questioning their thinking and saying, well, is this the way it should be? If we go back and look in 1 Kings 6, we'll see that Solomon built the house of God. He took 7 years. And then after he built the house of God, Solomon built his own house, and it mentions that in the 7th chapter of 1 Kings. And from there, you can't actually say for sure that Solomon built it afterwards. It could have been the same. But then when you go into 2 Chronicles 8:1, you'll see that it says it took 20 years to build the house. And so 7 years for God's house, and then Solomon's house. But not these people. They're building their houses first. And I think the lesson is for us to see, well, are we doing the things necessary in our life for ourselves first and putting God second? Or are we going to put God first and do the things of him and then do our own business? It's not an easy thing. A lot of times we have family and responsibilities, and we put off the things of God to do our own business first. But this is not the way God wants it, and he mentions it here, and he brings this whole thing to um, a point, and he continues. Is it indeed time for you to live in your vaulted houses, Ikis? But this house, Ikosutos, is quite desolate. God's temple was all broken down and desolate, and they were going back there building their own houses first, which sort of makes sense. If you're going back there, you could rationalize and say, well, I need to build my house before anything else, and I can get something done for God. There was a man who wrote this book, How to Be Free in an Unfree World, and his whole basically philosophy was if you do everything for yourself, be completely selfish after you have everything, then you'll be able to do things for others. Cacophinated as it is, that person later ran for president. And anyway, thought I'd throw that one in. And in verse 5 it continues, Kenin, tade legi kyrios pantokrator, taxate kardias imon, istas odus imon. And now, thus says legi kyrios pantokrator, the Almighty, arrange your kardias, your heart. We have cardiac arrest, cardia, your house, your heart. Arrange your heart for your odus, your journeys. Odus, and we have the English derivative of cathode. Current goes through this way of current. Verse 1:6, it continues. Aspirate pola ke isinenkete oliga. Ephagate ke uk is plismonin. Epiate ke uk is methin. Perivaliste ke uk ether manthite in aftis. Ke otus misthus synagon synigagen is thesmon tetripimenon. You sowed spire is an English derivative, a spire of a plant. You sowed much, pola, polygamy, the pola in Greek, and we have poly in English as a prefix, pola. And you carried in oliga, we have an oligarchy ruled by a few. You carried in a little, few. You ate. Ephagate, we have esophagus, the phagus, the esophagus. You ate, and not unto fullness. You drank, and not unto methane, intoxication, methyl alcohol, methane. And you clothed yourselves, and were not ethermanthite, heated. We have thermal, and this therm and being past tense in a verb, thermon. So you can see the thermal in there. You were heated by these. You were not heated by these. And the ones of the ones, and the one of the ones gathering wages, synagon, we have a synagogue, a gathering of people, much like an ecclesia, an assembly. There's a little bit of difference between the two words. There's an assembly and there's a gathering. The synagogue in the Old Testament, a gathering. And the ones gathering wages gathered them, there's a synagogue again, gathered them in a bundle having holes being made in it. Verse 7, it continues, Tade legi kyrios pantokrator, thesthe tas kardias imon, istas odus imon. Thus legi, the leg, Kyrios, Kyrieleison, Pantokrator, the Almighty, established tas kardias, the heart, the cardiac being the derivative, your odus, your journey. Again, the odus, the cathode, being the, as we mentioned before. And continues in verse 1:8. Anavite isto oros, ke kopsate xila, ke ikodomisate ton ikon, ke evdokiso en afto, ke addoxastisome ipen kyrios. Ascend into the oros, the mountain, or being a derivative, and cut xyla. We have a xylophone, a wood instrument that hit with the little mallets, and cut wood. And ikodomisa, there's the eco, it has something to do with housing, building. Then you shall build ton ikon. There's the agreement in the endings of the two, of the adjective and the noun. And I will think well by it. And endoxastisome, the doxa right here has to do with the doxology, has to do with glorifying God, glory, and I will be glorified, the verb here, said, Kyrios. 1:9, it continues, epivlepsate is pola, ke ageneto oliga, ke isi nengthi is ton ikon, ke exaphisi sa afta. Diatuto tade lege Kyrios pantokrator, anthon o ikos mu esten erimos, and you each pursue unto his own house, and we'll see that in the next column here, but without jumping around, we'll go to it when we get to there. And says you looked for pola, remember polygamy, many marriages. You looked for pola, much, and there became oliga, the oligarch we mentioned, little, and it was carried into the house, and I blew it away. So God's not allowing them to do their own thing. He will not allow us. He wants us to put him first. Of course, we have a free will, and we can do what we want, but doesn't mean we're going to be blessed by it. But God still blesses us even in our weaknesses and our disobedience, and has mercy on us. But on account of this, thus legi, this leg speaking, says Kyrios pantokrator, because my house, ikos mu, because my house is erimos. We have a hermit with the ha sound in the English, erimos, a hermit. My house is deserted, and you each pursue the okate ekastos iston ikon av tu. You each pursue unto his own ikon, house. 1:10. Diatuto anexi o uranos apodrosu ke igi ipostelite ta ekphoria avtis. On account of this, the heavens, the uranos, we have the planet Uranus, which is actually means heaven itself. The heaven withholds from dew, and the gi, the earth, geology being the derivative, and the earth keeps back its ekphoria, its resources. So that's what is the resulting of their doing this. Verse 1:11, ke epaxo romphean epi tigin, ke epi taori, ke epi ton siton, ke epi ton enon, ke epi to eleon, ke osa ekpheri igi, ke epi tus anthropus, ke epi takatini, ke epi pantus tus ponus ton hieron afton. And I will bring the broadsword. There's a Machiron, is like a stabbing sword that the Romans used. This is a larger sword, the Romphaean. I believe that was the sword that the angel had in the paradise, upon the Gene, the land, geology being the derivative for the Gene. Teen Gene, you can see the agreement there of the spelling. So the two, the article and the noun. And upon, epi, upon the Ori, the mountain being the orology being the mountain, and upon the grain, and upon the enon, the wine. There's almost a transliteration there. And upon the eleon, the olive oil. We have oleo, and if you know what oleo, if you're old enough like myself, I'm 66, I can remember oleo, and they call it margarine today. In the old days, it was oleo, and it's like a butter oil, and we have the oil comes out of this eleon, the oil, ele, similar, and but oleo is even closer. And as much as the ge, the geology being the derivative, the earth brings forth, and upon the anthropos, anthropology, a man, mankind, and upon man, the men, or mankind, and upon the cattle, and upon all, pan, being the all, of the toils of their hieron, of their hands, the chiropractor, their hands. And he's going to bring the broadsword. Well, he did, because the neighbors there, the people that were in that area, the Samaritans, were taken from other parts that the Assyrians captured and put into this area around Jerusalem, brought the sword against these people that were coming back to rebuild Jerusalem, much as it is today with the all the people surrounding Israel with their weapons coming against Israel. And Israel today has not rebuilt the temple, interesting enough, and I believe they were coming close to, but they were stopped to build it so they wouldn't hurt it wouldn't cause a conflict with all the Muslim nations. But it's interesting that this is what God says. If they're not going to do the things of building the temple, then the broadsword comes upon the land. Verse 12, it continues. Ke ikuse zoravavel o tu salathiel ek philis Juda ke Isus o tu Iosadek o Iarefs o Megas ke pantas I katalapi tu leu tis phonis Kyriou tu theu avton ke ton logon tu ageu tu prophetu kathoti exapestilon avton Kyrios o theos avton pros avtus ke aphovithi o leos apo prosopu Kyriou. And they heard, ikuse, acoustics, and they heard, the people that heard, it's in parentheses here, Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, Philis, the phylum of Judah, the tribe of Judah, and Isus, the Joshua, the son of Josedek, the priest, the Arefs, hieroglyphic, being the megas, the megalith, is a derivative, and Pontus, all the rest of the leo, the people, the laity, is a derivative. And then this is the end of that. And then it goes in and says, and they heard the voice, the phonis. We have phone, telephone, something with a sound. Kyriou, of the Lord. Tu theou, theology, derivative. Tu theou avton, of their God. And the words, the logo of Haggai, the prophetu, insofar as what? Kyrios, o theos avton, theology, theos, their God, sent him for them. So, and what happened? The people, the laos, laity, people, ephovithi, they feared, phobia, derivative, from from apogee, the distance from the earth, and the gi, apogee, is from the earth, and we have from being the apo, prefix in English, in front of Kyriou, in front of the Lord. And verse 13 continues. Ke ipen ageos o angelos Kyriou in angelis Kyriou epon to leo ego imi methimon legi Kyrios. And Haggai, Ageos, the angelos, now he's not called the prophet, the messenger, the angelos, and the direct transliteration would be an angel. I could have put an angel, but generally somebody actually wrote me a letter and said, how come one place you have angel, another place messenger? Generally, when it's obvious that this being is not of this earth, not human, then it's an angel. The transliteration angelos. In this place, it's a messenger of God. Angel and a messenger are the same thing. The Hebrews are in the I think it was in the Talmud, and mentions how they thought that a messenger, an angelos, was actually a physical thing that was made when God spoke. It didn't become sound waves, but it came into it formed a being, a messenger, an angelos, and this angelos messenger then went down and did and gave the message from its mouth. Interesting concept. So anyway, Haggai, the messenger of the Kyriou, spoke spoke among the messengers of the Lord, the angelis. Could be the angels here. So it's not always easy to pick out the exact right English word, because there's two different English words for the one Greek. And the thought there is sort of has to do with the context. And then you can go back and look in the Hebrew and come out with maybe possibly other conclusions. But anyway, Haggai spoke among the messengers of the Lord, saying to the Leo, the papal laity, ego, we have the ego, the proper personal pronoun, the first person, I am with you, legi, leg says, Kyrios. And then verse 14, ke exigere Kyrios to pneuma zoravavo to salathiel, ekphilis Iuda, ke to pneuma isu to Iosadek to Ioreos to megalu, ke to pneuma ton katalipon to leu, ke isilthon ke epiun ta erga into eco Kyriou pantokratoros theu afton. And the Lord, Kyrios, awakened the pneuma, the spirit, the pneumatics. In here, it could be the breath, or it's like the angel. It could be a messenger or an angel. It could be the breath, or it could be a spirit in a spiritual sense. The Lord, since the Lord awakened, had the spirit, the pneuma of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, from the Philis, the phylum, the tribe of Judah, and the pneuma of Joshua, the son of, see now here I got it correctly done, it's in italics, the son of Josedek, the megalu, Ioreos, the priest, the hieroglyphics, and the megalith, the derivatives, the great priest, and the pneuma, spirit, of the rest of the leu, the people, and they entered and did the works, ta erga, ergonomics being an English derivative for works. They did the works in the house, to eco, you can see the omega ending with the article, in to eco, and remember eco, ecology, economics, and something to do with a house or a business, and in the house of the Kyriou, the Lord Pantokratoros, theou, theology, afton. So many derivatives. I just love it. And then it continues and ends in the last verse. Ti tetradi ke ikadi tu minos tu ektu to devtero eti epi thariu tu vasileos. So this, and they entered and did the works on the fourth, the tetradi, the tetra being common for four, the prefix for four, and 20th day of the, it's actually 20th, the Akkadi, and the day maybe should be put in italics, of the sixth, the Ektu, hex being, we had it before, being the sixth, the hexagon, the sixth Minos, the men with the menopause, the sixth month. In the Devtero, the second Deuteronomy, the second law, the derivative, in the second year of Darius the king. So here now they're entering to do the works of the Lord finally after this warning. And we'll, in the second chapter, we'll go into what happens after this, which is just a beautiful chapter in the Bible. So until the next time, God bless.